Spider-Man is not allowed to grow up. In this current era we all live in, he is told he must always be a child. Whether it be in comics or shows or movies, we continuously see that Spider-Man can't grow up. In real time, we've literally seen all three of these versions of the character age backwards. Not even not grow up, go backwards. It's nigh unbelievable, but it's true. Spider-Man in the comics, Spider-Man in the shows, Spider-Man in the movies has continuously regressed in age as time has gone on to the point where they're not even retelling his original stories. They've gone so far back, they're predating those times. They're going before that. There is a common belief among the group of people who currently are in charge of Spider-Man at Marvel that he must be a child for him to be relatable and for him to sell. Due to this, we all must suffer and have to see a character who grew continuously for 40 years hit a freaking wall and then start to regress in age for the next 20 years. Saying this out loud literally makes me laugh because it's unbelievable but somehow true. Spider-Man has regressed continuously in multiple mediums so far that they don't even do his OG comic storylines, they predate them. He was in high school for 28 issues. That's it. 28 issues, no more than that. And we are still getting stories with him in the high school 60 years later. That's insanity. You don't believe me? All right. I promise you I've got the facts, and by the end of this video, you too will be floored by how shockingly true this is. Spider-Man is like Benjamin Button, aging backwards as time goes on. First, let's start looking at the TV shows, okay? When we look at the TV shows, we start off with Spider-Man in the 60s. In the 60s show, Spider-Man is in high school. He's working for the Bugle, and this at the time, it totally makes sense, right? It's the literal 60s. Peter may have been in high school when the show actually started coming out. Maybe he just graduated, but either way, if you want to tell a high school storyline, it makes sense. But then we go to the two 80 shows we had, right? Spider-Man and then Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Both of these shows have Peter in college. The shows are for kids and Peter was in college, people, okay? So we're already moving away from high school with the very first shows outside of him in high school are the next shows we get. He's in college now. Both of these shows, Peter Parker is in college. He doesn't live at home anymore. He has roommates. We can see a real trajectory, right? He's regularly heading upwards like a real life person, like his comic storylines are going. He was mirroring his comics. The 60s were in high school, so he was in high school. The 80s he's in college, so he's in college. Then we move on to the 90s show. In this show, Peter is a university student, but it's implied he's like going for his graduate degree. And then by the end of it, you don't even see him really going to college anymore. He's just like a colleague of Kurt Connors. Okay, so this character is even more mature than the last one, and we're just continuing to grow. Is there anything else? Yeah, he's moved out of Aunt May's house. He owns his own apartment or rents his own apartment with his girlfriend, who he then proposes to and then marries to start season 5. Turns out she's actually a clone, but still, they had Peter get married in this show. Talk about him getting older and maturing. This show, the 90s Spider-Man show, it portrayed Spider-Man as a full-blown adult. Spider-Man was married, had his own place in the city, no more roommates but his wife, master's degree and all. This Spider-Man is an adult. So let's stop for a second and think about this, okay? This Spider-Man is a full-blown adult, okay? Correct? We can all agree on that, right? Cool, nice. Then the next thing we could all agree on is the current people who run Spider-Man believe that this should be unrelatable and fans should not connect with this. Is that correct? Yes, that is what we'd all agree on, right? Then why is this the most revered Spider-Man show? Seriously. The only other show even in contention with this show is Spectacular Spider-Man, which we'll get to, but this should be the worst show by far according to the current regime who runs Spider-Man. The man's grown up, he's got a degree, got his own place to live, found the love of his life. This Spider-Man shouldn't be connecting with kids. Kids should hate this guy, right? But that's the exact opposite of the truth. Kids loved him. Christopher Daniel Barnes did his thing when he was voice acting the hell out of this phenomenal Spider-Man. This show is a literal bar for something to be considered a top tier Spider-Man show. You have to be better than this because this is the top tier. This is the cream of the crop. Spider-Man may be older in this show, but he's still compelling. His stories are still very interesting. He's still super funny, fighting crime because that's his responsibility. There's no need to de-age Peter Parker to make his story interesting to kids. The best story they have is an older Spider-Man. Like, the most revered story that fans like is when he's at his oldest. Sadly, basic common sense wouldn't stop them from de-aging Peter Parker. We move on to the next show, Spider-Man Unlimited, and in this show, Spider-Man is actually married to MJ. Let's go! And he has his own place with her as well. That's really about all we know, and like, this show came out in 1999. It's the last time we get to see an adult Spider-Man in a show. The last time. The next show where we really start the de-aging process, that's TNAS, okay? And it makes sense, it really does, why he's younger in this show, but like, it's annoying. This show is supposed to be a follow-up to Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man movie, right? Now, that wouldn't actually be a thing because they would make a second film decanonizing this show, but that was what it was originally made for. Peter Parker in this show is in university, just like Tobey Parker's Spider-Man was after the first movie. He graduated high school in the first film, and now he's in college. Same here with this Peter Parker, everything's the same. He's not married to MJ, he's actually struggling to start a relationship with her, and he lives with Harry Osborn, so he's not living at home. Again, I'm not trying to flame the show, it's supposed to be a continuation of the movie, so we're going to move on to the very next show, which is Spectacular Spider-Man, which would be the very first time we actually really get to see Spider-Man in a high school setting. And let me tell you what I think about that. I actually don't mind it. It doesn't bother me. The first time we ever get to see it, the 60s show doesn't really show Spider-Man in high school really at all. You see his origin story, that's about it. The 80s show, he's in college. The 90s show, he's in college and further. In 99, he's like traveling across planets. TNAS, he's in college. So finally, they want to do a contemporary Spider-Man show, current events, make the show really feel more like it actually happened in this era, 2006-ish, 2008-ish, and have him be in high school for the first time ever. I'm not opposed to that. They never really did that. If you want to do a story where you're kind of like retelling the old classic Stan Lee stories, the first 28 issues, in a contemporary setting, I think that's a good idea for the first time if you're actually going to do it. But emphasis on the first time. It even makes more sense when you look at the fact that this show was coming out at the same time the One More Day comics were coming out. And if you're going to ask me if I'd rather have One More Day comics or just Spider-Man in high school for a TV show, I think I'd rather see Spider-Man in high school for a TV show. If you give me a 1-to-1 adaptation of One More Day, I'll probably blow my brains out. I never want to see that in my life. But yes, this Spider-Man, he's in high school. He's 16 years old. Obviously, he's not married to MJ or anything. They don't really even date. They go on a date or two. And he obviously lives at home. But like I said, this doesn't bother me. It's the first time it happened, so I get it. But then we move to the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, okay? This show to me is very clearly aimed at kids. First off, they don't really even do like Spider-Man regular stuff. They have like these chibi Spider-Man everywhere. Spider-Man's breaking the fourth wall. It's clearly just a show that was not a show for everybody. I know that sounds weird, but like if you watch the 60s show to this day, it's very funny. It doesn't seem like it's geared towards kids. Same for the 80s show, same for both the 90s show, same for TNAS, and same for Spectacular Spider-Man. This show, when I watched it for the first time, I was like, yeah, I'm turning this off. It feels like it's a kid show. It's crazy because the other ones don't do that. But anyways, moving forwards, this Spider-Man is again in high school. Their reasoning for this is they're trying to adapt the Ultimate Comics. So it's the second time he's in high school. But again, they have a reason for it at least. They're kind of do a retelling of the 2000 Spider-Man Ultimate Comics when he is in high school. Okay, I get it. And he does actually get to grow a little bit. He does go to college in the show too. It's not the end of the world. It's cool. He doesn't get married to MJ or anything though, so that's lame. But all in all, I'm not going to flame the show or harp on the show too much because again, it's supposed to be a retelling of a storyline that was in the comics, okay? But then we go to the 2017 Spider-Man show. We're on show number 3 in a row of Spider-Man in high school. Now we're not actually getting any stories from the actual modern era. You know what I'm saying? These stories are all just a high school Peter Parker, and then maybe they'll give us a modern storyline from the modern era, but like Superior Spider-Man storyline does happen in the 2017 Spider-Man show, but that happens with an adult Peter Parker in the comics. They don't even try to have an adult Peter Parker in the cartoon for 2017 show. It's just straight up high school. There's no reasoning to it like they're adapting a specific comic storyline. They've never adapted comics of Peter Parker in high school before. It's just high school Peter Parker again. No one wants this. And then you move even further, and they made another show in the great year of 2025. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man comes out, and we still have a high school Spider-Man. It's aging backwards. This character appeared in the comics for 28 issues. He was in high school for 28 issues. 28. That's it. There's no reason they have to keep him as a perpetual child now because he had 28 issues in which he was in high school. Why don't you adapt the other, 900? What? I don't get it. Look, there's an easy way you could rectify this with the TV shows at least, right? With the TV shows, you just make a continuation of Spider-Man 1994 and make it Spider-Man 1998, right? John Semper said he wants to come back and do it. There's no reason not to. You can even have it run concurrently with your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. They had 2 shows running in the 80s. Why can't they have 2 shows running in 2025? Spider-Man's even bigger now than he was back then. But y'all clearly see it though, right? As I've gone through with the TV shows, we can see Spider-Man literally go from being a high schooler to being a college kid to being an adult to being an adult to being a college kid to being a high schooler, younger high schooler. Yeah, they de-aged this man to 15 years old. He's never been 15 in the comics once. Let's look at the movies, okay? We start with Tobey Maguire in his first movie, right? Tobey Maguire in his very first movie gets bit by the spider. He becomes Spider-Man. He graduates high school. It's that quick, people. This man is probably 18 at the youngest, 17, and he graduates high school nigh instantly. That's how it's done, people. Sam Raimi, you did your thing. I'm so proud of you. Spider-Man was only in high school for 28 issues. It makes sense. Nothing substantial happened with Peter Parker in high school. You don't need to portray that stuff. Nobody cares about that stuff. Having him graduate nigh instantly is the perfect way to do it. You have Spider-Man appear like he's in high school. He gets the bit like he was in high school because that's what happens in the comics. And then he graduates because that's what happens in the comics. Sam Raimi, I love your movies, and I especially love you for how you didn't make us sit through and suffer a Spider-Man in high school storyline. Sam Raimi would continue to cook, and he would give us Peter Parker and MJ pairing off to be together forever. We even see this in No Way Home. They're still together.
I wouldn't give up. It took a while, but we made it work.
Yeah?
Yeah, me and MJ.
So things worked out for him for the best. Let's take a second and look around. This Spider-Man right here, he should be hated, right? Based on what the editorial says, the people who run Spider-Man, he's an adult. He's got love. He's got a love interest. He's got a full-time job. Fans shouldn't be able to relate to him, and they should hate him, right? Yet, he's the most revered live-action Spider-Man. This is the one everyone points to and says is the GOAT. Now, I don't necessarily agree, but you can't deny the casuals fucking love Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. It has so much love put into the script, the characters, and everything, and it allows Spider-Man to make mistakes and grow. He's actually a human in this franchise. Now, we look at the Amazing Spider-Man films with Andrew Garfield. In the first film, Spider-Man is in high school, and in the second film, he graduates in the very beginning. Now, this isn't the peak way to do it or the perfect way to do it, but it's a very fair way to do it. One full movie with him in high school, and then the rest of the movies with him out of high school. It doesn't appear that way because he only had 2, but this was supposed to be like a full-fledged universe. It would have been awesome, honestly. You know, you start off with the high school, and then you have like 7 movies with him out of high school. You don't even realize that he was in high school for that one movie because it's such a minute part of the storyline percentage-wise when you look at it like that. That's how it is in the comics. It just doesn't look as good because the universe got canceled after only the second film. But we see this Peter at least graduate high school. He's not a young child. He's at the precipice of being an adult. It's still fair. It's definitely younger than Sam Raimi's version, but it's still fair. And then we move to the MCU Spider-Man. Tom Holland's Spider-Man starts off in high school, and then after 3 films, is still in high school. Well, technically, he's not in high school, but he hasn't gotten his GED or graduated either. They de-aged Spider-Man in live action too. And it hit in full force in Tom's movies. The first 2 movies are full-blown high school stories. First, him being in high school juggling life and superhero life, while the second one is him on a school field trip in Europe while he's juggling life and superhero life because of Mysterio. We finally move to the film 3, which is starts focusing on Peter trying to apply for college, which is a good start. The film doesn't focus on high school day-to-day life either, and then it ends with what we presume is Peter studying to earn his GED. Let's compare these 2 trilogies, okay? When you look at the Raimi trilogy versus Tom Holland's MCU trilogy, in the Raimi trilogy, you have Spider-Man who graduated high school, found the love of his life, and became a full-time staff member at the Bugle, and actually was being paid a livable wage as an adult and was financially stable. Okay, that's an adult. And then we look at MCU Spider-Man in the same 3-movie time span. MCU Spider-Man still has not technically graduated high school. Is that not wild to anyone else? In 3 movies, he's still in high school? Please. The man was in high school for 28 issues. I don't care how many times I have to say that to you guys in this video. I'll scream it from the mountaintops if I have to. 28 issues out of like 950. Let's do math. Let's do the math out of that, okay? I'm a big math guy, so I'm going to look at the exact amount. We have 964 issues before this video drops. As of me recording this video, 964 out of 28 issues, okay? So we take 928 out of 964, carry the 1. You get a whopping 2.9% of Spider-Man's comics take place in the high school. And they're milking this 2.9% as if it's anything substantial when there's another 97% they can choose to use. Are we joking here? It's unreal. I'm moving to comics, man. We're moving to the comics. I said this earlier, but Spider-Man comics progress for a whopping 45 years or so before they finally hit a fucking wall. Most of y'all know, but in 2008, the editorial staff at Spider-Man decided to ruin Spider-Man and MJ's marriage via a pact they would make with the devil to bring Aunt May back to life and make everyone forget who Spider-Man is. They traded their marriage for Aunt May back and for nobody knowing Spider-Man's identity. Thus, we got Brand New Day. Hey, this is the name of a familiar sounding movie. I hope the movie does better than the comics it's supposed to be emulating. You see, with Brand New Days, fans were furious. We were actually frothing at the mouth, foaming with anger, because we were pissed that Peter and MJ just got broken up. But there was some hope still, right? It was supposed to be a completely fresh new take on Spider-Man. A complete blank canvas. Spider-Man was an adult, but no one knew who he was. He can be his own person again. He didn't have any of his previous baggage. The world was his oyster. Expect some big changes from Mr. Spider-Man. And then he just reverts back into being a child who struggles to talk to women, struggles to be financially stable, and struggles to balance his superhero life. To make matters worse, instead of living like an all-new life free of his old one, his past demons come up even more now than they ever did before. Gwen Stacy, who's been dead for 50 fucking years, is still brought up routinely as if she died yesterday. Harry Osborn, they still retread that as well. Spider-Man's friends who he once earned the trust of now make fun of him again just like he's a kid all over again. Spider-Man is so broke he has to ask kids for money. Spider-Man is so broke he needs his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend to pay his rent for him. Y'all see what's happening here? You see it, right? We were promised Spider-Man would have a brand new day. Instead, it just feels like they're bringing back old stories. This isn't a brand new day. This is the same old day. Again and again and again and again. It's like I'm caught in a loop. I can't get out of it. And I have no answers as to why this was even a thing in the first place. Literally none. No one wanted this. But because we have an out-of-touch editorial staff running the game, we all must suffer now. This is the same editorial staff who believes an enraged fan buys more books. Pfft, are they stupid? I don't remember the last time I bought an Amazing Spider-Man book. Buys more books? If they mean like I'll buy more Ultimate Spider-Man books because I'm so mad at Amazing Spider-Man, they were right, but because I'm not going to buy the Amazing Spider-Man slop. I'm just not. These guys are straight up out of touch. You have writers in that office who believe that all fans should be able to experience the same Peter Parker they did. As if fans can't just read the same comics they read when they were kids. Are they this fucking stupid? The last thing that makes it even worse, the worst part about it all, is that if they wanted a kid high school Spider-Man, they have fucking Miles Morales right there. He's in high school. Why do they keep trying to make a 28-year-old 616 Peter Parker a high schooler? That show, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, should have been about Miles Morales. He's the kid Spider-Man. He's in high school. Heck, they even made a kid Spider-Man Spider-Boy last year. Why can't they just use Spider-Boy to be the kid Spider-Man? Why must Peter be stuck as a literal child if they're going to keep pumping out new kid Spider-Man? It makes no sense. It's truly saddening that Spider-Man must be a perpetual child, or just a literal child, in every media due to this like horrific view that some old dudes have at Marvel. Like, a few out-of-touch old men get to decide how the world's greatest fictional character runs. I know it won't happen, but I pray every day someone at Disney with real power over Marvel hears our cries and they get these guys away from Spider-Man. We've been suffering for fucking years. These guys are abhorrent, and they should not be working for this company, man. They shouldn't be. You got people still currently working at Marvel who said shit like this. I don't even want to repeat it because I don't want my own words saying this shit, so y'all can read his own quote. I'll put it on the words for you. And he laughed about it. That's pitiful and disgusting. Spider-Man no longer should be a boys' club for out-of-touch old men. Get them out of here. Get them out of here. We are tired of them trying to ruin the greatest fictional character ever made. They don't know what they're doing, and I'm tired of them pretending like they do and being paid for it. Stop de-aging Spider-Man. Bye. All right, I got a skit coming out later this week. It's like going to be the first skit I've ever done. I'm actually going to be flaming these idiots at the Spider-Man office again, so please support it if you can. I'm nervous to do it, but also very excited. I haven't done a skit on this channel before, so I would very much appreciate if you guys could support it. It'll be going up later in this week, probably Thursday if I had to guess. If you enjoyed this video, you should leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Please check out the Patreon. It'll be in the description down below. And if you want to talk to me, you could also check out the Discord I have as well. The Discord I have as well. I don't know why I said it like that. The Discord. Anyways, that's it for me in this video. Dunk out. Peace.